I'm Dr. Paul.
No, you need to say something like, welcome back to Rotten Potatoes. You can call them couch potatoes, that's what I call them. They don't know it's a derogatory term.
This is Rotten Potatoes.
Amazing intro.
You're all couch potatoes.
I am untethered and my rage knows no bounds!
I'm Dr. Paul, I think.
I'm Diet Dr. Paul.
Well, hello, Mr. Fancy Pants.
I was excited about this episode when we first started.
Did I dash your hopes already?
You did. You harshed my mellow.
Today, buddy, we're gonna discuss grindage. Having filled the furnace, packed the cheeks, and stuffed the gills. Okay?
This is the best episode of our show ever.
You say that
I say that.
every time.
No, I don't. I said it.
You say it often, I feel like.
Well, you know, and because if this was a hard one, this really should be 3 episodes. I cannot remember a time in my life where there were more movies that I'm looking forward to.
Really? You have a completely different view of this year's list than I do.
I'm going to school you.
I got a little disappointed.
I'll be dropping the mic.
And to me, it's not that there's not going to be good movies. It's like last year versus the year before. 2023 versus 2024. 2023 had the big boys. It had Oppenheimer, Killers of Flower Moon. I don't feel like there was that in 2024. I don't see that this year is my point.
Let me tell you, my list was so exclusive and so difficult to get 7. 28 years later is not on my list.
It's not on my list.
You just go out of your way to do things that are different.
No, 8 years later made my preliminary list, but it didn't even make the second cut for me.
What are we talking about? They might think perhaps.
The most anticipated movies of 2025.
It was a struggle last year.
Got it right the first time.
With the
baby.
exception of Megalopolis, which I was looking forward to it, and the single greatest movie ever made. So, and then Maestro was the other one that I was, kind
You
of
talked a bunch, and you're kind of struck out on both of them in my books.
Well, it was
Maestro wasn't so bad.
It was nominated for Best Picture and Best Actor.
I liked
Best
Carey
Director.
Mulligan a lot. I thought the cinematography was beautiful. There's some shots in that I liked, but I thought it was for the way you talked it up, it wasn't as good.
Well, for 2025, Megalopolis is still on my list.
It'll be on your list every year until it gets
He's
good.
going to do the director's cut,
Eventually.
which he does all the time anyway.
Yeah, there's a 12-second nugget in there that's going to change the face of that film.
Raiders of the Lost Ark with 21 additional seconds. If I can't see it, no one else can see it.
So we have the 7. Yeah, first of all, if you're new to us, you might know this. Father, son, boomer, millennial. We've been doing this now for about 2 years, every single Thursday. In fact, we give a cash prize if we don't drop one on Thursday, and that
Who's paying that?
you are.
Oh, no.
That's like the lottery. It goes up every single week. It goes
I'm
up.
not paying
kind of
that.
stuff. Yeah, you will.
No.
I'm tired.
I'm tired.
I'm one step from living in a Maytag box under a bridge. So this is, we talk about movies to pop culture, models, sci-fi, all movies, but we do tend to cover a lot of horror and genre films, sci-fi films kind of stuff. And this is what we call the 7. So I don't know what he's going to say. He didn't know what I'm going to say, but I came up with my 7 in order from, counting backwards 7 to 1. And he doesn't know what I'm doing, vice versa. And so why don't you kick us off? But before we do that, I'm going to go out of my way and say that of the set of your 7, I probably have not heard of 3 of them.
Possibly.
Do you think, how many of my 7 do you think that you've never heard of?
Probably half of them.
I like that.
Mm-hmm.
I like when you see movies that I've never heard of. It's like, wow.
Well, I sent you last night. I sent you that website that I use. So I said, you won't miss any on this list if you go through each of these.
You used a website to come up with your list?
What the is the internet?
Well, there's a website that shows the releases.
But that's what you use?
Sometimes.
Oh, I don't. I use prayer, man.
Prayer.
I just say, what movies?
He's
it's just like,
crowdsourcing.
it's a vision
That's
that comes
cheating.
to me.
He's crowdsourcing. That's messed up.
All right, number 7.
Well, no, I'm not done yet.
oh, you got some.
There's going to be some old school horror remakes this year that
Oh,
I
yeah.
wanted to highlight that are the old school stuff. We got a Wolfman and a Frankenstein coming out this year.
Mm-hmm.
Del Toro doing Frankenstein, Wolfman.
Is that on your list?
Lee Winnell. No, these are not on my list.
It was on my honorable mentions. Yep,
Yes,
so
well,
far.
that's why these are kind of. I just wanted to talk
Okay.
a couple about
Keep
these.
going.
A24 is going to have a big year. Opus, Bring Her Back, Marty Supreme, Eddington. I've put on some lists, but I didn't put on this because I don't want to keep talking about it. It's one of my most anticipated for horror for next year. Warfare, that's another good one. Then there's going to be some interesting sequels in the horror verse that I think might be some strikeouts. The Conjuring is getting another movie. Insidious is getting another movie. Saw is getting another movie. Karate Kid's getting a movie. Jurassic Park's getting another movie. Mission Impossible's getting another movie. So there's some potential this year.
None
for
of
some
those
big
were on
stuff.
mine. Yours?
No, these are all honorable mention. Well, just ones that maybe not great movies, but this is the year ahead.
Yeah.
Just sort of some highlighting some stuff that may be on the horizon for some people.
That's my same impression because you have some nuggets on there that I really can't wait. But there were others that I was looking forward to.
Yeah, these are
even
ones
more.
that like, oh, that might be interesting.
I also had Love Hurts. You familiar with that?
Hmm.
Same people who did won the Best Picture last year. Every Wing, Everywhere, Somewhere out of.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and the guy, No Time for Love, Dr. Jones.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Nobody.
Mhm.
You know, action choreographed
No,
kind of stuff.
that one, I didn't put it on my list, but I did kind of go like, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, great trailer.
Because I actually haven't seen that movie yet.
Steven Soderbergh, which everything he does, he goes to gold. He's doing Presence,
Mhm.
which is not on my list. Last Train to New York, which is a remake of Last Train to Busan.
Oh, they're doing a remake in America?
Uh-huh.
Oh,
28 Years Later, not on my list.
Yeah, it's
Mickey
not on
17, not on my list.
I didn't put that on my list again either.
Nobody 2, and I loved Nobody. Not
Hopefully
on my
they
list.
can recapture like John Wick magic and it'll be
Yep.
just as good.
Death of a Unicorn, which we had the review. It's a great movie. 28 Years Later. The Thursday Murder Club, which
Accountant 2 is coming out.
Yep.
With Ben Affleck.
yeah. So it just is, and most of the movies that I'm on aren't sequels or remakes. Some are
There are a
remake.
bunch of them.
Yeah,
But
but there's a lot of original
Unique
stuff
stuff.
that's coming out. Mickey 17 kind of thing. 28 Years Later, which is kind of different, but yeah, I'm so pumped. So welcome to part 1. We may talk about these in part 2.
maybe.
Yes.
Hold on one second.
Pardon me while I whip something.
Pardon me
up.
while I whip something out. Okay. Number 7 for me. Oh, and I wanted to say this.
I'm distracted. Why are you wearing that?
This?
Yes.
Because we won last night.
Who is we and
Well,
won
they
what?
know. I don't want to talk too much because I'm not trying to chirp. It's going to be a good game. Maybe I'll throw a play on the screen.
By the time you see this, the national championship will have been played.
No, because it's not till the 20th.
This is going to appear before then.
What's today's date?
Today is the 11th.
Yeah, it'll be up before then.
Never mind.
But we did win, and it was a big game, and so.
Well, I'm making a pledge,
Mhm.
okay, that I will not eat meat whatsoever until, as long as Ohio State has not won a national championship. So if
You
we
know what?
don't win, I'm not eating meat.
I'm not going to do any heroin. Just kidding. Not that I was,
Just
not that I was
kidding.
ever tempted to do any.
Is this a 5 o'clock free crack giveaway?
Hurrah. But I did want to say this. For the first time ever, the DCU, MCU, greater than.
Oh, you motherfuckers. Okay. All right. I'm putting cases on all you bitches. Huh?
yeah,
Less than
Yeah.
MCU.
yeah.
So it's going to take it over this year, and MCU's got its work cut out for it.
Heidi ho.
Heidi ho. Superman's going to do all that because there's not a big slate for them this year.
Mm-hmm.
That
All right.
Speaking of that,
Number 7.
number 7 is the one MCU movie I am excited about, and I had to say it. It's the Fantastic Four: First Steps, coming out July 25th, 2005, and it's got pedigree. And it's because it goes back to an old love of mine, director Matt Shakman, who did like 50 plus episodes of Always Sunny in Philadelphia, So he's got like super grassroots.
Isn't
to
that
him.
a sitcom?
No, not a sitcom. He also did some Game of Thrones episodes, The Great and WandaVision. I didn't particularly like WandaVision, but it was pretty to look at. But it's got Pedro Pascal, Vanessa Kirby, Joseph Quinn, Ralph Ineson, Julia Garner, John Malkovich. It's got quite a bit of people in it. And it's supposed to, I think, be like 1950s,
1960s, I read.
So I'm kind of looking forward to
Classic when it first appeared in comic books.
not having to worry about tying in a bunch of other stuff. I hope it'll be, a little like cherry.
I will give you everything that you just said, and it does titillate me.
Yeah, Fantastic Four. It should will they get it
Finally,
right?
yes.
Will they get it?
This
will either be like a
Yep.
or maybe
Good
it'll be
casting. Is the guy who plays the Thing? Is he that is in The Bear?
yes.
And he just won
Eben Moss Backrack.
Yes, I love him as an actor.
He's
kind
the
of
one
stuff.
name I did.
And of course, it's all
It'll be prosthetic for some point for him.
yeah.
Or
Yeah.
not prosthetic. It could be CGI. I don't know.
If they could bring back the magic of 1960s Marvel,
Mhm.
then I'm all there. So good job.
Yeah.
All right.
You're welcome.
My number 7, in keeping with comic books, my number 7 is Superman. Now, that probably surprises you. Why do
No,
I
it
have it
surprised
number
me.
7?
Because it's a comic book movie.
No, it's really it starts with James Gunn. I just don't know that I trust him fully with the greatest comic character of all time.
I mean, he made Peter Quill relatable. Made Peter Quill relatable.
Crickets.
Different kind of superhero, but he's an alien.
Just because you are a line cook at McDonald's doesn't mean that you can work in a Michelin.
He did Slither as well. You didn't like Slither? Slither was awesome. I'm glad I just mentioned that, so now I can put a nice the longer I talk about the movie Slither.
Look, he had
the
Guardians
longer I get-
and he had Suicide, and they
Oh,
were okay,
yeah.
but Guardians overstayed its welcome in my opinion. A lot of what he does is style over substance. I love the look of Clark Kent in this. I mean, from the trailers, I
That's the
love
one
the.
thing I didn't like about.
Oh, I do. I like him. He looks disheveled and
That's what he looked a
kind of
little
stuff.
frazzled.
I love the costume. I was worried about that for a
I was
while
too.
when they talked about, but he's got the red shorts, which you have to have red shorts on that.
Got to have
On
space
that-
underwear.
Yes, it
Space
is.
depends.
I love Wendell Pierce as Perry White. I think that's good. I love Crypto. Oh, for crying out loud, that warms my heart. I'm not sure about Nicholas Hoult as Luther. I think he's starting to be he's in every movie made in 2024.
A little too much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Nathan Fillion as Guy Gardner. There is no place in a Superman movie for any other superhero other than Superman. Maybe Batman and Wonder Woman if you're especially hard up. But that's my problem with the director is he starts drilling into other characters. Can't we just focus on the single greatest character? We don't need
I'm not saying that you're not wrong, but it is what it is. You know they're going to.
Oh, I know, because it's all about. It's like.
But there's you could find a balance. I think if you do like a scene where the right mixture, the right collision.
There is such a wealth of information just mining the duality between Clark and Superman. That's a movie in of itself.
No,
that relationship.
but that's a
the
relationship
alien
they've done
status
before.
of Superman. You
But it's
could
also a
mine that for
story
3 movies.
It's a story
You
we've done
don't
before.
need these other characters.
But it's also you can't keep doing the same story over and over again. Surprise!
They've
audiences.
never really adequately sort of explored the duality between Clark and
Even though you
his-
said it's the greatest superhero movie of all time, hasn't done it right.
It is the greatest. But there's still more to be mined.
Fair
Even
enough.
that movie didn't do it. It was a great origin story.
Fair
And I'm not
enough.
saying every Superman needs to be an origin story,
No,
but how
I'm
many
glad
times
it's
are we
not.
going to see, radioactive spiders and all the...
No, I'm tired of origin stories.
Yeah. But I
Tired of
think
it.
that there's so much, just this whole notion of being an alien, what it's like to be, I mean, with Alan Moore and the Watchmen sort of approach this whole thing about if you have an all-powerful alien, people aren't going to trust him. And yet Superman is beloved. And so it's this love-hate. I mean,
'Cause
there
I
is
really
so
like
much to
the
mine
Watchmen.
here. We don't need these other characters.
Well, I thought The Watchmen did a good job of it.
I did.
Just made him kind of
So-
an unlikable version of that character.
I'm hoping that Superman will wind up being one of my favorite movies of the year.
I think it's going to be like this amazing movie, but I think it should be pretty good. Yeah. I think it'll be good in the sense that Guardians Volume 2 is good. I don't know that it'll be Guardians good. That was a good movie. Anywho, let's move on to how we do it right. The right list. Stella's got to get her groove back. All right, number 6, coming out March 14th, 2025. The Electric State. Boogie Woogie Woogie Woogie. Have you heard of it? No? I think this one looks really cool. The Russo brothers, starring Millie Bobby Brown, Chris Pratt, Woody Harrelson, your boy Ke Huy Quan, Daka Jones' No More Parachute, Alan Tudyk, and Stanley Tucci. It is Terminator meets District 9 meets Escape from LA. So it's retro-futuristic 1990s America, and Skynet is aware, and these they're robot-like service robots stage like a coup, and it gets deflected, so they've been like put in this, Escape from New York type.
Is this A24?
I don't think it is A24.
Is it David Fincher?
No. No, I said it's the Russo brothers.
Okay, I'm just saying. I've never heard it.
And Millie Bobby Brown, I guess, has got to go like her little brother is. Yeah, she got to go get her little brothers. I don't know. It looks really cool though. I like just the style they did with the robots, and Alan Tudyk, Stanley Tucci voicing characters.
Is this so? This is animated.
No, it's live action, but the robots have voices. So
Gotcha.
I think if you see the trailer for it, you'll see that it's not like iRobot. It's not like an action film in that sense. I think it's going to be like a comedy drama.
We need to do that. We need to maybe what we should have done is another episode where the trailers from all of these.
You could have said that. We could have done that, but you lied.
Well, good.
They'll be on the TV for them to see.
This sounds like a popcorn movie.
It looks really good, though. I think,
Yep.
I'm going to push aside some of the bad choices Millie Bobby Brown and Chris Pratt have made, and it just looks good, I think.
Are most of your films genre films?
I have forgotten. I mean, they all have a genre, I guess. That makes sense.
Any of the 7 that you see would have the possibility of being nominated for Best Picture?
No.
Okay.
Not at all.
He likes movies. I like film, which brings me to my number 6, High and Low.
That's what we should call our lists.
How dare you? And first of all, you're gonna feel pretty bad because it's an A24 film.
Okay.
Finally, it's the possibility that Spike Lee can finally get his Oscar for Best Picture. Okay, it is you got Denzel Washington and Jeffrey Wright, and it is a remake of the 1963 Akira Kurosawa. It's a police procedural film.
You just said the magic word, remake.
And
you're not allowed to like remakes or want to see remakes.
Well, this is one that I'm looking forward to. And it's a Criterion Collection. And when it came out, it was generally well accepted. It's not considered one of Kurosawa's best films. I had never even heard of it. Mm-hmm. But I love Spike Lee. I love him as a director. And Jeffrey Wright seems to be in a lot of stuff. I mean, he's really, I love him a lot. Watching right now, The Agency, streaming The Agency, and he's scary on that. So this is, this is one of those situations where if it's halfway decent movie, and we've seen this with Oscars before, where somebody will win the Oscar, but it's really more for their lifetime work kind of stuff. And I think, Do the Right Thing is one of the best films ever made, and sort of got screwed over by Driving Miss Daisy kind of deal.
Isn't that a hoot?
Huh? Yeah.
And that's like ironic.
Yeah, it is. It's just, I think it was a little too angry for America.
Giving that man nightmares.
Yeah. But I just think this could be a terrific opportunity, and Denzel is at the top of his game. And the fact that it is, clearly it's got a pedigree with Kurosawa. So I'm really looking forward to this.
Kurosawa's good.
Yeah.
Like him.
Okay.
Don't know that that's one that I would see in the theaters, but, it's got pedigree, like you said. You'd be stupid not to consider something like that.
It's a film.
Yes, that's true. It's got the Big words. All right. And you spoiled this one just a minute ago. Number 5, Steven Soderbergh's The Presence.
Have you seen the trailer?
Yes. January 24th, 2025 is going to be coming out next week. It might be on the What to Watch. It's already got some advanced reviews, 89% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's one of two movies that Soderbergh is releasing this year.
Yes.
Julia Fox is also. It's supposed to move between genres, and it's also supposed to be done from like
the standpoint of the
presence or whatever,
which I thought was really kind of
In a
interesting
violent
when I
nature.
saw the trailer.
Yeah, the trailer is what did it for me. I was like, man, it sounded interesting enough, and then I saw the trailer. I was like, man, this actually looks
Did it
really
remind
good.
you at all of Evil Dead?
A little bit, but like
Because of the camera kind of
Yes,
stuff. Only it wasn't
yes.
as frenetic.
yes, and initially I thought of In a Violent Nature though, because the same kind of thing,
Yeah.
and it's a little slower.
Yeah.
But I see that too as well.
Yeah. I mean, I think he's going to reinvent the haunted house
It's potential.
genre. Yeah.
He's good. He does different things. Not hit everything he's done, but
It was on my list up until about 9:30 this morning, and I pushed it out. And I pushed it out for High and Low. Spike Lee.
yeah, of course you did. Now I'm gonna have nightmares about that.
Have anything else to say about it?
Well, I think
Is
it's
that
pretty
a
good?
is that a theater movie or a streaming movie?
We'll see. I don't know if I'll have time to see it in the theaters because it's gonna be out pretty soon. But
You're so busy.
so
all right.
tired guy.
All right, number 5 for me. Deliver Me from Nowhere. You never heard
I
of
don't
it.
know. Potentially.
Director Scott Cooper, he did Crazy Heart, he did Hostiles, he did Pale Blue Eye, and it is a Bruce Springsteen biopic, kind of, sorta. It's based on the book by Warren Zane, which tells the story of Bruce Springsteen as he was sort of developing his record, Nebraska. Okay, you have Jeremy Allen White, which is going to be playing Springsteen. He's the
What's he been in?
he's the bear,
Bear.
the movie about the chef.
Oh, the main character. Okay.
I just asked you about that, and with the guy from
You said the bear, and I immediately think the movie The
Cocaine?
Revenant. Think Leonardo DiCaprio getting attacked by a bear.
which, by the way, there is a new series on being streamed right now, which is the people that did Revenant, and it's a Western, Primeval, America Primeval. It's dark.
I believe so.
Oh,
I'm sure
it's
it is.
like I would not want to have been alive during that time
I
period.
use that opening scene when I teach tracking shots.
Yep.
And I literally just did that this past week, and I have to do it. It's like an hour-long thing for each. So I have it memorized, and I forget every year just how violent that scene is. And sometimes I'm like, man, I'm glad I edited some of this stuff out,
Yeah.
blurred some of this stuff, because even though they're in high school, it's still a bit much.
When I did my list, there's so many movies come out. Can't see them all. And some are really good and some are not good. And some of them just are unexpected, which we like. So what determined the ones on my list were its pedigree. You're looking for a really good director. You're looking for a good cast, some kind of something that will tell you that the people making this movie are serious. And clearly with Jeremy Allen White, he is on fire as an actor
he's
right now. He's
in
really
everything.
good. And I can see, we have this biopics right now. We've just done Bob Dylan. We did Freddie Mercury. We did Elton John.
I could see him as the boss.
And again, we've talked before on this, anybody, not anybody, but somebody puts money together to make a film is one thing, and getting it vetted. So somebody says, okay, yeah, we're going to give you the money to make that. But when you have a movie that starts as a book, that was a whole other level of vetting, So if it's gone through that process, somebody and editors and agents kind of stuff, then you make a movie out of that. It's almost being like double vetted, and it's much more likely to be, I think, be quality. And the fact that somebody could write a book just about Springsteen's, he wasn't even making the album. He was recording Born in the USA when he was, or Born to Run, when he's planning to do Nebraska. How do you make a book out of the making of an album? I mean,
I don't know.
yeah. So it's like, clearly you made a book out of that, and now you're going to make a movie. I'm
Maybe
there.
like life lessons learned through the song making
Maybe.
process.
Yeah.
But you say that, and then on the other hand, you think, well, why are comic book movies so bad? If some of the source material for that's so good, and maybe there's your hint right there, comic book movie makers, is maybe you should follow the comic books.
Because
more.
it's easier to get funding for a comic book than it is to get funding for a novel.
You're not supposed to know the answer to that question.
Okay. All right.
Just kidding. That was your number 5.
It was.
Number 4, and I accidentally spit this one out earlier accidentally. And this one is from A24. Written and directed by Ray Mendoza and Alex Garland. Warfare. Huh. Yeah.
What is it good for? Absolutely
You know nothing about no war.
What is it good for?
Yeah.
Absolutely
I thought it was
nothing.
I
Say
thought
it
it was
again.
supposed to come out very soon, but then I looked online and I couldn't find out a specific date, although it's 2025. And it's got, it is a, Ray Mendoza was an Iraqi war vet. He was in, he was a U.S. Navy SEAL, I believe. And so he was at this whatever mission, whatever happened, it's like kind of goes to crap, and it's how they have to survive this mission in Iraq where they're stationed with this family. And so he was there, and he writes this book, or I guess he writes a script for it and then gets it made with Alex Garland, who did Civil War last year. He's the writer-director for that. So it's that level of like visceral. That was the one good thing about that, was just how like realistic it was from some aspects, but then you're going to get a story that actually happened. And it's got quite the list of young actors attached to it. So you got Joseph Quinn, who was just in Gladiator 2 and Stranger Things the last season. Will Poulter, who's in everything. Finn Bennett, who I just saw for the first time in True Detective Season 4 I watched. Man, that's a good show. And he's going to be in not House of the Dragon, he's in the Hedge Knight TV show that's coming out later this year. Cosmo Jarvis, Kit Connor, but it looks really, really, really good.
You don't like actors that are over 30, do you?
I like certain actors. I like when I find an actor that's young and I see them get older. So I do see an actor like Will Poulter. I see him in movies like, man, I really like him. Or, for instance, you just talk about Nicholas Hoult. He's kind of the same thing, but he's a little overexposed.
If it were up to me, Michael Caine
They'd all
would
be 90 years
Michael
old.
Caine would be in every movie.
Michael Caine would be the women in films.
I'm surprised. Again, like I said, I had a feeling that I wouldn't have heard a lot of the films. I'm really surprised. I was going to guess the ones that you had, and you haven't mentioned any of the ones that I thought you would pick.
Well, I've seen quite a few Warfare trailers watching videos on YouTube.
Oh.
So that's the place where I've seen that one the most. But the others I've not seen trailers for unless I've gone out of my way to watch them. And I don't think there is one yet for Fantastic Four.
Gotcha.
Or at least not like
No.
that they've released.
Oh, I really, of all the ones you've won, that's the one I'm most excited one. And
Well,
it wasn't even on my,
It's my top 3 are really
yeah.
going to
Huh.
burn you down.
Number 4, Wake Up, Dead Man.
That one might have been a preliminary.
It is the fourth installment, the third installment in the Knives Out films.
No, I did see that though. You like those a lot more than I do. They're okay.
I really did. I just had forced Heather to sit down and watch both of them, and she did.
That's why she's downstairs crying.
Yes.
I was wondering, she was literally weeping over divorce papers this morning.
No, I love the characters. This is kind of like it reminds me a little bit of the Agatha Christie, the Hercule Poirot that Branagh
Yes.
does. Everybody wants to be in this. Every film has a brand new cast, with the exception of Poirot, or in this case it's the Daniel Craig detective. Just great. You got Josh Brolin, Jeremy Renner, Glenn Close, Thomas Hayden Church as part of this. I just really loved.
I will say that about the casting in these movies is they do a really good job of getting like actors from all sorts of, like, you're in the peak of your career, you're pulling characters that haven't been to movies in a long time, actors that are the hottest in the world. It's this great smorgasbord and plethora of different types of actors. So you're going to get some really cool people in them no matter what.
I think actors are attracted to story, and that's ultimately where it's at, because that's the words that they're speaking. That's their whole character, and
I think
all
that's
of these
probably less
are
true than you believe. I think they're attracted to, like, it's like stock, right? So Yorgos Lanthimos writes a movie and he's like, ooh, he's going to win an Oscar soon. So now everybody wants to work with Yorgos Lanthimos. So I think you may get actors, not all the time, but they may not even care what's on the paper. They're like, if he's writing and directing it, I want to be in his movies.
Except that things like the Perot movies or this aren't typically thought of as best picture, best.
No,
It's
no,
not
I'm not
Oscar
saying
fodder.
in every instance,
Yeah.
but I'm sure that it happens quite often.
I think it's a great story and great characters that are just really, it's all on the page. And I am there for this. I want to be sitting in the theater when it happens.
No, it's never been one that I've been like, oh man, I need to go see them through. But it's always, as
Did
soon
you
as I
see
see
any
it on
of them?
Yes, I've seen them all. As soon as it gets to streaming, I'm like ready to watch it. And I usually watch it more than once. I've seen them all more than one time. But for whatever reason, I just don't get as excited about like procedurals or detective stuff as often. It depends.
Have you seen all of the Perot movies?
That's the one with
Haunting in Venice.
no, I've not seen them all.
Murder on the Orient
I've seen
Express.
I bought 3 of them. I
Eh.
got like a box set on Prime or whatever.
Well,
with
3's
all of
good
them.
because there's only 3
Yes,
thus far.
That's the 3 that I have.
Okay. And you haven't watched them all.
I haven't seen the last one, which is the murder,
Mm-mm. Last one was Venice.
the Haunting in Venice, the one
Was
that's
the
like
last
the horror movie one.
Right.
Yeah, that's the one I've not seen.
Yeah. I think it's the weaker of the 3
It's the one that looked the best to me.
because they really cut it as a horror movie.
I know.
Yeah.
It's not.
But it's good. All right. Well, let me hear what you got.
No, yeah, you're done talking now because yours sucks. Mine's the best. All right.
We're in the heat right now. We're in the 3.
So it's time
Icing
to
on the
start
cake.
mentioning the good stuff. So coming out February 21st, 2025. That's very soon. The Monkey. This is a Stephen King adaptation. Produced by James Wan, directed by Osgood Perkins. That's Long Legs. It's got a very similar visual quality to it. It looks really good. Theo James, Elijah Wood is in this, Tatiana Maslany, but it just I saw the trailer for it for the first time and it buttered my bread in a big way.
I thought of it for all of 10 seconds. I did. But what it came down for me is the biggest deficit that it has, Stephen King. You think about what he's done.
Mm-hmm.
His horror films have really not held up as well as his non-horror.
This is going to be
So-
good though. I think the monkey's paw, or the monkey, which is what it's from, has always been sort of like a line bender for me, and I think it's a great one.
It's also the one thing that does play in its favor is was a story inside a larger novel, as was well, actually that's true for Stand By Me and for Shawshank Redemption.
Thanks for just giving it credibility.
I know, but that
You're
would
welcome.
argue in the favor of it. But no, I would love. I mean, you think the master of horror, of written horror, how long until he's got The Shining, but I'd love to see that.
But Osgood Perkins is one of those guys where I think people are going to start jumping on his bandwagon in a big way.
I'm just glad that Nicolas Cage isn't in it.
You're just mad.
No, I'm
Because
not.
Nicolas Cage is the bomb diggity.
Okay, good choice. Number 3 for me, The Gorge. Never heard of it?
Nope, never heard of it. I mean, I don't.
You got director Scott Derrickson. Okay, he did Exorcism of Emily Rose.
Okay,
He did
yes.
Doctor Strange, Sinister. You have, I know. It's
Moment of silence for Sinister.
It's essentially a 2-person cast. You have Miles Teller and Anya Taylor-Joy. Okay, you know who they are?
Yeah, I wanted to hate her so bad in the latest Mad Max movie, and that movie really buttered my bread too.
The Queen's Gambit, a brilliant performance.
I'm not seeing that.
Yeah, it's essentially you got those two and Sigourney Weaver, and it's the story of 2 agents that their job, one on one
they're
side.
snipers.
No,
No.
you have a gorge. You have one outpost on this side of the gorge and one on the other. Miles in one, Anya
Yes,
in
but
the
that's
other.
how they build it. They build it as 2 snipers on opposite ends of this.
It's not.
But
Their
that's how the
job.
log line was.
Their job is to guard the pit
Yes.
to make sure what doesn't come out, because it's essentially the gateway to hell.
Yes, they're snipers. Is what they put it in the log line. They're 2
I
snipers.
think a snipers is
But I'm just saying that's the log line in the thing that I read. I did read about that. It did sound kind of interesting.
Watch the trailer.
Okay, you never let me finish because you kept deflecting. No, they're not. They're doctors in Afghanistan. No, they're not. They're opening a restaurant. No, they're protecting hell with guns. Okay, my bad.
No, they're making sure that it doesn't come out.
Yes, well, protecting.
It reminds me when I saw the trailer is in the remake of Dawn of the Dead, where they were separated in one building, another building, and they have signs, and they're not supposed to talk, have any contact with each other whatsoever. The pedigree of this, obviously, is the director. I think Exorcism of Emily Rose is one of the best horror movies that ever made, in my opinion.
Oh, it was both in our top scariest movies.
You have Miles Teller, who is just, talk about Whiplash and Top Gun Maverick.
Whiplash is one of my favorites.
Anya Taylor-Joy. You have Sigourney Weaver. She can do whatever she wants.
She's bad.
So that kind of a set. Now, I hope it just doesn't wind up being a, money grab.
You got it. I'm sorry, no matter whatever you just said, the fact that it was directed by the guy that did Sinister, you got a 50% chance that it's going to suck.
Well, everything after Sinister was really good.
I'm just saying, you got to put that there for what it's worth. That's one of the worst movies I've ever seen.
I know we've been,
but it does. I didn't watch the trailer because the Derrickson thing, but that's what Teller, Taylor. I'm there for them in a big way, and everything else you say about it.
They appreciate the fact that you were there.
They do.
Yeah,
trust me, they do.
Okay.
All right, let's appreciate something else. And both of my next two movies actually come out on the same day, November 7th, 2025. Look into the future. He loves to time his movies for the Oscar because he's an Oscar bait king, whatever you want to call him. Yorgos Lanthimos, Bugonia, and it's Emma Stone again. I think she just wants to continue. I want to be in an Oscar movie every year. Jesse Plemons, Alicia Silverstone, one of my favorite comedians, Stavros Halkias, is in it. Two conspiracy-obsessed young men kidnap a high-powered CEO of a major company convinced that she is an alien intent on destroying planet Earth. He just has interesting sort of stories that he likes to get into, and The Killing of Sacred Deer gets better every time I watch it. I didn't particularly care for Kinds of Kindness. I think that was, a niche film. Some people loved it. Some people hated it. I liked Poor Things. I think I call it Pretty Things all the time. But yeah, it's got the pedigree. I love Silverstone being involved as well. I'm a big fan of Plemons. It should be good.
I saw it, and
it's not out yet. You didn't see it.
I saw the announcement. I didn't see the trailer. I saw the cast kind of stuff, and it just didn't butter my bread, as you say.
When I saw that Halkias was in it, that means to me that there's going to be a comedic flair to it, and that means that it should be freaking hysterical.
Yeah,
but it should be a good drama.
Well, good.
And he's good. He does some interesting films. There's a flair to his films. So it should be different.
I saw it on more than one list kind of stuff.
You saw it on this list.
Yeah. All right.
Number two.
Numero dos. Which is fitting. That word two.
Nobody two.
No. Heat 2. You know the movie Heat?
Yes. It's one of my favorite. I watched it last night. Literally watched it last night.
In 2022... a novel was released, written by Michael Mann, co-authored by Michael Mann. Immediately, people thought, okay, when are you going to make this into a film? They've signed Austin Butler and Adam Driver to this. I love
Adam Driver, even though he's not done perfect movies. I hate him for doing 65. But
he was in this film called Megalopolis.
Yeah, I thought he was good in Megalopolis.
I did too. I can't wait for this.
I didn't see that. When is it supposed to be?
It is in development.
Well, when's it
so they haven't announced an exact date for it.
Well,
but the fact that they already it's based on a book and they've signed the two actors that are part of this, that's the most difficult part. And Michael Mann is director.
Yeah.
So
that sounds good. It sounds like it's one of those things where it's going to be towards the end of 2025 probably, and probably won't have a date on it. But Begonia doesn't really have anything outlet either, so. That sounds great.
I knew you would.
I would probably kicked off a movie for that. Probably it wouldn't have been Fantastic Four.
I am your eyes to the world of
I
cinema.
didn't see it. It's not on there. They don't have an actual date release.
You don't know how to mine the internet like I do.
I'm gonna mine these hands.
All right,
Let's
Ken.
talk about numero one.
uno.
I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry.
Superman.
It's an adaptation and a remake all rolled into one, and it's the second Stephen King thing on my list, baby boy. What is it? Tell him what it is.
Where's Superman?
Tell him what it is. Do you not know?
No.
The Running Man remake.
Oh, Lord. The guy that was in Sing Sang has just been signed to play the game show host. I saw that. And what's his face, which I'm just not a fan of him.
Who?
The guy
Glenn Powell?
Yeah.
He had a great year, though.
I know.
And that's kind of kicked it into number one for me. And I'm not a fan of his either. But Edgar Wright, I love Edgar Wright. I use him all the time when we get to close-up shots and quick cuts. Edgar Wright's my go-to because he's perfect for the younger audience. But I love that story. It's such a cool story. It may be Roadhouse from this year all over again, but I'm okay with that. I just want to see what they mix up with it. It's got a pretty good cast involved. Glenn Powell, Katie O'Brien, Josh Brolin, Lee Pace, Coleman Domingo, William H. Macy, Michael Cera is probably going to be the nerdy guy that he helps escape with. But yeah, I think it...
Have you seen the original?
Have I seen the original? Yes!
How many times?
Oh, a ton of times. I have it on VHS. I have the VHS. It's got, there's 2 other movies on there with it. One of them is another Stephen King movie, and I can't remember what the third one is, but the first one's Running Man.
This was a recorded
Yeah,
copy.
we had the VHS copy of it, yes. And it's on Prime, too. I love that movie.
I saw it one time.
Schwarzenegger. It's got the guy from, he was always kissing the girls on the game show.
Yeah, William,
I can't remember his name.
yeah.
Had some professional wrestlers in it. It was good, man.
It didn't do anything for me.
Yeah, well, you have no heart, no soul.
I
and no
don't get
brain.
why it was. Why it was part of your generation because it wasn't
It
mine.
was so good.
Yeah.
I just remember when he signs the contract and he stabs the pen into the guy's back. He's like, "Oh, you need something to write on," so he writes on the dick-headed lawyer's back and then stabs the pen into it. It's so good.
So you would classify this as a film or a movie?
This is a movie, 100% a movie.
Okay.
My number 2 movie was a film.
I would like you to look into the camera. Okay? And I would like to be able to zoom in on your face because I'm going to make you cry. Because you're going to be so upset with yourself that you've never heard of this film, but it would clearly be number 1 on your list. Alto Nights.
Huh?
The Alto Nights. Let me just tell you what you got here. First of
I
all,
haven't even heard of it.
tier number
I don't
1.
know. I don't even know what this...
Tier number
you
1.
said like I was going to know what that is.
You won't. But once I explain it to you, you're going to say,
Well, hurry up. I
how
can't
did
stare
this,
into this.
How did this pass?
Stare into it.
First, I just start off at the director. Okay, you got Barry Levinson, right? Oscar winner, Best Picture for Rain Man,
I
Sleepers,
like The Bay. That was a good one. That's-
Bugsy, Good Morning Vietnam, The Natural, Diner.
I know who Barry Levinson is.
Okay.
My favorite movie that he did is
Number-
The Bay,
Number 2, the script,
which you probably never even heard of.
Nicholas Pileggi.
Don't pull on my leg.
You're laughing now, but you're going to be crying.
Okay, go ahead.
He wrote something called Goodfellas
Okay,
and something else called Casino.
okay. I'm a big fan of Goodfellas.
And
Love
City
me some
Hall.
Goodfellas. I love
And then
me
let's talk about the star.
Okay.
Robert De Niro. Okay.
He's
Playing 2 roles. Okay. Vito Genovese and Frank Costello, filmed in Cincinnati, Ohio.
And this is a mafia.
It's a mob film. Okay.
He's so frippin' old now, though.
He's supposed to be.
Okay.
But look what he did in the Flowers of
No.
Flower Moon.
I'm not saying, and no, I'm not saying he's not good. It just has to be the right role. What I don't want to see is them doing The Irishman with him again. That's my fear, because you could tie the same strings to Irishman, like, look at this, could be great, and then it was a little for me.
I thought it was great.
I
And
didn't
it was
like
actually produced by the same folks.
But it could be, as long as they're not trying to. I don't want to see him shoved into a young.
Just go ahead and
person's
cry.
role. I'm not going to cry.
I'm telling you.
I love the Goodfellas.
Write it down now.
Best.
This-
Whoa! Let me stop you before you start making some Bold claims here for you have another clip to refer to later this
I
year.
guarantee it will be nominated for Best Picture in 2026. Guarantee
Bum,
it.
bum, bum.
Just the pedigree alone with Levinson and De Niro, and people will start. You're gonna have film festivals where they're gonna have Casino and Goodfellas and Alto Nights. That's like a trifecta.
I'm
telling you.
hoping it's good. I love Goodfellas. I think that's probably one of the 10 best movies ever made. And I'm a big fan of Casino too. It doesn't hold up to the same standards to me. And I honestly think Goodfellas is probably the best mafia movie ever made. Better than Godfather. Well, I don't know that it will ever be better than that. Because you can't resurrect Ray Liotta and a young De Niro and a young Pesci. You can't have, those guys don't exist anymore.
It's better than Godfather 3, but that's where it stops.
I take bowel movements that are better than Godfather 3.
Filmed in Cincinnati.
That's cool too. I like that. That's cool. Couple other honorable mentions from me
Okay.
that I didn't. I know we said Mickey 17. That was on my list for last year. It was supposed to come out this year. I think that's going to be a really good movie. Obviously, I said Superman. Eddington. That's Ari Aster, baby. Jurassic World Rebirth.
Yeah.
Still got to talk about
I'm
it. And
so
then
done with
this one, we both talked about this on the horror movie for next year, The Bride.
Yes.
That one looks really cool too. I want to see that as well.
The Death of a Unicorn. That just the trailer was just kind of one. When we saw, really, the 28 years later, because it's so unique and different, and
and hopefully the movie's as unique as the trailer.
I hope that works.
The fact that Ray Fiennes is in it is a good sign.
Yeah. So, but I'm just the remake of Last Train to Busan. That's going to be.
I don't know, man. It's such a great movie. And remakes from J-horror and Korean horror can be hit or miss depending on who they put them in the hands of and what studio. Honestly, so I don't know what studio.
Well, remember what Scorsese did with The Informant? What do you bat in your eyes like that? Infernal Affairs.
Yeah, well, that's a great version of it. They're not all that good. Is
I
what
know.
I'm saying. That's the highest highs.
I agree.
Which that might be one of the top 10 mafia movies ever made too.
Yeah, I can't wait for 2025. We need to do
I didn't
another.
know about Heat 2, baby boy.
Well, that's
I'll
good.
be there
But
for
Alto Nights is like
Heat 2 would
I want to see that right now.
Would have cried over that.
So
We're going to cut to Native American tears.
yes. So thank you for sticking around with us in 24, 25.
Some
Coming
2023.
every Thursday, showing up. Plus, what's coming at you comes out on.
I release it Mondays.
Yeah, you make it. I see him on Sunday because I have season tickets.
Yeah. He's got backstage passes.
I do. I got one of those special little, tags that gets me
Wayne's
in.
World. Where they're all
We're not worthy. So, anyway, I got nothing else to say.
Yeah.
Okay. Do we have to end it as quick as we started it?
You can do it however you want.
Goodbye.
See you.